Welcome to the Men's Collective podcast. In this space, we keep the conversations real, inspiring, and challenging you to become the man you are destined to be. Your family needs you to be better. Your friends need you to be better. We need you to be better. We are your hosts, the Average Joes. Gentlemen, welcome back to the Men's Collective podcast, the place of real men and real talk. We're your hosts, the Average Joes. Wayne Taylor here, and I'm here as always with some good buddies of mine, Jamie, Chrisso, and Miguel. Lads, how we doing?
Boys, how are you?
Very good, mate. Good way to finish your week as usual.
You say it every week, don't we? It's always
Yeah,
good,
we
mate.
love it.
Hey, boys.
Well, it's good to have you as well. Fellas, tonight, topic's one of those ones that at some point has got every man thinking. And that topic being, is she the one? How do you know when you've met her? Or if you're married, what happens when doubts creep in? Are you settling? Have you forgotten what made her the one in the first place? And for the single again men out there, how do you avoid repeating the same mistakes? We're diving into everything tonight. Red flags, deal breakers, and even the tough stuff like whether you're ready as a husband or partner to lead, protect, and provide. This conversation is for every man who's asking himself if he's ready for a partner or questioning the one he's with. But before we dive in, make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. And don't forget your Average Joe's meetups happening this week and every week. Head over to www.averagejoes.net.au, grab yourself a shirt, check out some of our merch. Big thanks to our sponsors for backing us and believing in us. And if you're a business or just a lover of the show looking to support the Average Joe's movement, we'd love to chat and about bringing you on board. So let's get into it. Is she the one? Let's find out. Well, gents, I want to approach this one tonight with the three different types of men out there: the single man, the single again man, and the married man. So we'll start. Fellas, I want to start by asking you this one question. The one, when I say the one, talking soulmate, talking the ideal woman, the perfect one for you, or the perfect one for any man out there. Does the one exist? We'll start simple question, yes or no. Miguel, does the one exist?
Absolutely.
Chrisso.
Yep, it sure does.
Miguel. Oh, Jamie. Miguel twice. Jamie, does the one exist?
Soulmate?
Yeah.
I don't believe they do.
Oh, we're going to get some...
Well, we'll define what's a soulmate to you.
I think the issue is with that is that Disney has painted such a picture of this is what love is supposed to be. And when it doesn't match up to that picture, I think that people are disheartened by it. So I don't think that there is only one person that you can be with. I think that there's compatibility and there's people that want to commit. And you can have an amazing life with that person. But, you know, the chances of you meeting one person out of 7 billion is pretty far-fetched, I think. But I would love for you guys to change my opinion of it today.
I think what you're saying there about Disney, mate, is comparison's a thief of joy, right?
Yeah.
If you're looking at what you're seeing on TV and all the rest of it, it's what it means to you. Well, it's going to be a good subject, and I can't wait to get into it. Like the stuff that I've been through with my wife, I don't know how many women would still be around. Bankruptcy for 4 years, living in a single donga with a mattress on the floor to start with. Now, I've never ever had her mentally checked out, so there could be something wrong with her upstairs, of course. But Wayno, what do you think? Is it yes or no?
Look, when I hear soulmate, I'm probably going to throw a bit of a spin in the works as well. I'm leaning more towards what Jamie said. I'm actually a believer in, I think you choose on who your soulmate is. I don't think it's a matter of you meeting someone, bumping into them and going, oh my God, you're the missing half of me that we just miraculously found amongst all these billions of people on earth. I believe you choose who that person is, and I believe it's a daily choice. Because I look at love, right, and I go, love's one of those things, exactly what Jamie's saying. It's portrayed to us through so many ways. Disney does it one way. Dating apps nowadays do it another way. They sell us what love is. Porn attempts to sell us a story or a made-up thing of what love could be or what love is. There's so many things out there, I think, that try to say this is love, and when you can find that it's within this person. So when you find this person, oh my God, you guys gel, you're the missing piece, and now look at you function. And we base that off the feelings that we have when we're around them, you know, the attractiveness to begin with. But I don't believe that's how it works. I believe through meeting that person because of the things that you're looking for, that you then choose to be with that person. And I believe that they make up a lot of things in your life, not the things that you're missing, because Jamie and I were talking about this again today. I think one of the problems is that when men begin to look in the lives that they miss or that they, want to enhance, they then look for that in a woman to go, oh my God, like I'm missing this in my life and you're now going to adapt that to me and make me complete. Whereas I believe men need to be able to go, no, I am complete. Not saying independent, but complete within himself. And then you can offer that to somebody else. I think the dangers in that, though, is that we then wait for perfection within ourselves to go, no, I'm waiting until I'm 100% perfect, which I also think can throw a relationship out. But no, to answer the question, I don't believe the one exists out there waiting for you to bump into them, but I believe that you can go, I'm going to choose daily to make that person my one.
It's what you create together, right?
Yeah.
In my opinion. I might
I
have
think you can create it
misunderstood.
together if she has the same attitude towards you.
100%. You've both got to work on it, or the fire just dies. It's pretty simple. One's the wood and one's the oxygen. Like if you can't create the fire and the spark, it's gone.
So for the single men out there and going back to, what have I, 25 years now been married, so I was single at 19. I can't remember what I was thinking at 19, so it's a long way back for me to think. But for the single men out there, what goes through their head of a single man to go, I'm searching for that soulmate, I'm searching for that woman? What are the thoughts that goes through his head? What's he looking for?
I don't think anything's going through their head. They're just looking for a one on the, that weekend. So
If that's the case, why not just pick anyone?
well, I think that happens a lot.
You got to
And
have a standard.
I think a lot of guys actually go, someone loves me. Okay, this one will do. You know what I mean? Or she loves me. She must be the one. So I think that is the problem because I didn't know who I was till I was like 25. Like I didn't really sort of work out all my parts and actually I think mature properly till I was 25. So for me to get into a relationship with someone like I did at 18, I didn't actually really know who I was. I was actually probably trying to be what they wanted, which is something the second time around, which is the thing that I hated. So I think that, spending some time and working out who you are first and actually understanding that there is people out there that are compatible with you and will give you the things that you really appreciate and that should come naturally to them. Yeah, but as a single young guy, I think there's so many guys out there who are just going, okay, I'll see what I can get. And then if they love me, then that must be the sign.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. Like, this girl loves me. Like, men love to be loved.
Yep.
And when they feel that love and that feeling from a female, they're all in,
Yeah, it's actually the guys that are romantic most of the time. Like we
need to be romantic because you're trying to woo them over and win them over.
Well, exactly. But we even buy into that Disney. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm the Prince Charming. I'm going to give them everything they want and all the rest of it without thinking about what do you need. So, and the truth is that we, our best attributes come out after we mature. So, and, some people are really lucky where they meet someone that are willing, as you're saying, Miguel, to work together and actually grow together. But that needs to happen. And, I think sometimes it's worthwhile taking a bit of time and a bit of stock in who you are and what you'd actually really like and appreciate before you go, okay, I'll just take whatever I can get.
So, mate, I misunderstood what you were saying at the start of this. When you said there's 7 billion people out there, whatever the figures are, I thought you were going down an open relationship. Like, that's where I thought you were leading, dude. Seriously.
That's just where your mind is, Miguel.
Because, that was just my interpretation. That it's impossible to find that connection with that one person. So I misunderstood you.
Yeah.
For me as a young guy, it was attraction. And when you say attraction, people go, oh, you're just looking for someone that's hot. No, it was definitely physical appearance, without a doubt. Emotional attraction. Mental attraction. Like, can you have a decent conversation? You're on the same wavelength. And obviously sexual attraction. But the biggest thing was personality, man. That was a massive thing. If the person was funny, you could get on, you could have a laugh, just like sitting there with one of the boys having a beer. But bonus. She's got extra bits.
I'm just laughing. Oh, you should meet my friend. She's got a great personality.
I'm being serious, like because I know some girls that we grew up with. You know, they thought they were pretty celebrity style type of women. On the outside, they were gorgeous, mate, but on the inside, they were ugly. Like,
Which does make a difference.
it makes a huge difference, man. So, but we used to call them the mole patrol, like, and it was like we'd be at a local pub or at the nightclub, and like, oh, here comes a mole patrol. There'll be 10, 15 girls, like just that didn't think that they thought their shit didn't stink, but they were just ugly, and all the boys that were hanging around with them, they were there for one thing. Seriously.
Yeah.
It's interesting you say that because Lisa and I have this, not that we sit down and have this conversation often because it's going to sound quite weird, I guess, but there's been conversations in the past where Lisa's gone, hey, do you find so-and-so attractive? And I've done the same thing. Oh, do you think so-and-so is good looking? And not because there's a danger in that of any ways, but it's just out of interest, right? Because, someone walks past or whatever, but if it's somebody you know, and Lisa's to me in the past, oh, do you find so-and-so attractive? And I've come out with, no, I don't. And she's like, really? Like, I thought you would have. And I go, yeah, but on the inside, I actually don't like her as a person.
There you go.
And she's like, oh, does that really, I thought to a guy, the main thing is like, you know what, initially the attraction of looks is there to a guy, no doubt about it. But when you get to know the person, it can make any woman ugly.
Massive.
And I think this is where young guys or single men can really throw themselves off or blind themselves by just focusing on the appearance. Because let's just be straight out honest. When you're meeting somebody for the first time and you're considering if you're going to go down the path and make a relationship out of this, you do picture yourself being intimate with the person. You do, because you want to make sure that if you go down that path that you're going to enjoy being with that person. So you picture it. And that's one of the things too. But I think one of the things guys blind themselves by is they stay there and go, oh, mate, I'd love to get with that chick. What they're meaning by that is, connect physically. And this is what I've said this many times before. This is what I don't like about the dating app scene is that you're going by the first attraction, which I understand, the first attraction being there, and then you get to know the person, which I do see there's a lot of benefit in that too. But I think for men, a lot of the dangers are they go for the look straight away and then they settle for the personality of the woman. And then you find them hoping one day the woman's going to change. Nothing ever changes. And then you see the divorce rate going up and up and up because the men they've blinded themselves.
I think a lot of the younger guys in their 20s, the single guys, they're just going for the hottest chick they can find as a trophy in front of their mates. Look, got a hot chick hanging off his arm. I think it's only when you get into your 40s or late 30s when we're actually mature as men that we really appreciate women's what do you call it?
Emotional strengths.
Personalities.
Yeah, personalities, yep.
Yep. And values and morals.
For me now, that like someone's personality, like a woman's personality, is probably the number one thing that I would look for.
Yeah. But in saying that, for young people, sometimes the best thing that can happen is that they get with that really hot chick and then that hot chick breaks their heart.
Mm.
And then it's like, how could she be so cold? Like, I did everything for her. You know what I mean? Like, and I've known guys like that, and that sort of flicked a switch to go, I don't want to be in that situation again. I don't want to feel like, shouldn't say the piece of meat, but I didn't want to feel what's the word? Helpless. You know what I mean? Where it's just like they come and go, and and I wanted them just because of that one thing. So, and that sometimes actually makes them go, what I want is the ugly duckling. Have you heard of that before? Yeah. Where they're uglier when they're younger, but then they become hot when they're older. Because at least then they developed a really good personality first, and then
you must have a really good vision, bro. I hope you don't stuff it up, mate.
I heard this growing up a lot, and it does get thrown around a lot still to this day. And there is truth to it. And I was saying to Jamie today, not that by no means going back and saying, I wish I'd believed this advice. So just whoever is listening to this podcast, that's not what I'm saying. But there is truth in the fact that if you've met a woman and you want to know what they're going to turn out to be like, look to the mother.
Yeah.
I'm not saying every woman is identical. I'm not saying every woman turns out exactly like their mother, but there are so many traits. Like I said, I've been married 25 years, and I'm not saying, lads, don't leave me out here by myself.
So to save you there, Wayne, I actually went, oh, I wish I listened to that one.
No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying there is so much truth in it.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, I mean, your partner has been brought up in a family unit, raised from a child to mimic and copy and whatever. But there is so much truth to it. And so when you are with somebody and you're considering, wow, is this a long-term thing? I do think you actually honestly need to stand back, but look at both father and mother and go, they are going to grow up to be a combination of those two. And I think sometimes we try to convince ourselves by saying, no, they won't, no, they're not, because they're an individual. And I get that. Yes, my wife is an individual. She is her own person. There's no doubt about it. But there are so many traits, and we do it jokingly even to this day. Oh, okay, and I'll call her, it's going to sound so bad, but as a joke, like I'll call her by either one of her mother, like the names of either her mother or father, if I see her talking or acting like one of them. Yeah, she'll act like it's going to sound so bad, baby, if you're listening. This is not a bad thing. But if I see her like talk or act in a way of like her dad, I'll go, okay, Graham, like just... What I'm saying about this, hey, you're making this sound bad. I'm not saying that's bad. But I do think, though, when you are looking for a partner, if you can get to know the family, I think that plays a major role because they are going to bring into a relationship so many things they've learnt from their parents. I'm not saying that's a deal breaker, but I think as a single person, I think knowing their family makes a huge difference or could make a huge difference.
To some degree, I totally get what you're saying, and in past tense, absolutely, but... Like I've been with Christine for 17 years, and she's nothing like her mum. And like, genuinely, she's not. And I'm not throwing anything out there. Like, Christine's mum hasn't worked for I don't know. Like, honestly, don't know. They went through a bit of hell financially and stuff, and she wasn't really there to chuck a hat in the ring to help out or anything. Like, Christine's motivated, driven, completely different. Go getter. Not sitting down waiting for things to happen in her life. She's going out and making things happen for herself. The age of 19, was she 19, I think she was, 18, 19. When she was in Western Sydney, she just decided one day she was jumping on a plane and heading to WA because there was nothing for her there and she wanted more out of life. So she jumped on a plane. It was the first plane ride and off she went. And about a week before she was coming home, the poor bastard, she walked into me in a pub. The rest is history. But like fair dinkum.
No, well, Selena's exactly like her mum. Product, like in that poem I wrote for our wedding. Product of Shaz, like a well-oiled machine. They're very similar in their mannerisms. So I support you in that.
So do you reckon all the mothers-in-laws out there looking at their sons-in-laws going, you must be attracted to me in some way? If you're my mother-in-law out there, don't think that.
Oh my God. Okay.
As a single man,
I'm gonna ask my brother-in-law that. I'll ask my brother-in-law that. So, mate, do you think mum's hot or what, dude? And if I rock up with a broken nose or a couple of black eyes, you know what the answer was, right?
As a single man, it's one thing to, let's say, a checklist. Let's not call it a checklist, but just for argument's sake, we'll call it a checklist. When you're making a checklist to go through and what you're wanting in a wife, how much of that do you need to switch over to yourself and go, okay, well, what am I going to tick off in another checklist on the top of husband I'm committed to be? So how much work, because I know Jamie and I, we talk about this a lot about how much work men need to put on themselves. As a single man out there, prepping to go, look, I'm looking for this type of wife. She needs to be this. I'm looking for this. I love this about women. So I'm looking for this. What kind of checklist does he need to make for himself to go, right, what kind of guy do I need to become? Because we say it all the time on here, protect, provide, and lead. I think they're the three main keys. So other than that, what kind of checklist do you make for yourself as a man to go, right, for me to be the perfect husband or the perfect husband for that person, what do I need to be? What do you think those boxes are?
I think it needs to be of equal value, equal relevance. So, and I've just had this conversation with Christine only this week. next year shaping up to be a very big year for us across multiple facets. Several different businesses and boards and stuff that I'm on with other people. So I said to her, if I'm going to do this and go all out and 100% commit, I won't be at home for about 6 months of the entire year, like minimum. I said, for me to do that, I need to know that you're happy mentally and we'll be able to look after home and you're not going to need support. And I'm going to have to know that the kids are going to support you on that. So I'll bring home the bacon, but I need you to do X, Y, Z. So that's what I mean. I think it's got to be a fair play for fair trade. This is the goal that we want to achieve in 12 months or 24 months. This is what I'm going to go to town and do. When I say go to town, I mean go to work and grind and get it done. But I don't need for me to be away from my family. I need to be 100% certain that I can focus on why I'm away and what I'm doing whilst I'm away, and know that home's looked after.
But I'm talking more as a single man. If you're not married and you're about to or you want to step into a long-term marriage, a long-term relationship, what does a single man have to question himself about? Like, does he need a certain amount of money?
I think exactly that. What are your goals over the next short, medium, long term? Like if I could redo it, mate, I'm 99.99% sure I'd still marry Christine. No, I'm 100% sure because
Mate, there's a point one you left out there.
because of what we've been through, right? Like, and I know similar. Like we've had friends and that haven't been anywhere as hard on the ropes as what we've been on, and shit's just deteriorated. So for a young guy, if you just want to coast through life, whatever, take it as it comes, happy days, no problem at all, whatever. If you're an ambitious person and you've got goals that you've set, and you're 19, and by this time in life, I want to have a house, or I'm going to start a business, or I want to travel, or I want to have kids and be married. Whatever it is that turns you on and makes you tick, you need to have a partner that aligns with that, like 80%. Because if it doesn't, it's going to fucking fall apart. Seriously.
As a single man, like I was single not too long ago. I think the biggest thing that girls are looking for is a man that's going to fit into her life and fit into her family and her friend group. So I was pretty focused on making sure that I was likable, around her friends, and they accepted me as their new friend, and and her family the same, like accepted me into their home, and just focus on making sure that I'm not going to be the wrong fit for her life, because meeting someone new and starting a relationship is you're actually joining two lives together, and if you're not integrated the right way, then it's not going to work.
All right,
Totally agree.
I got a different spin on this. All right, so for guys, a lot of the time, attraction is one of the first things that you would look at, and I'm sure we've seen a lot of guys put up with a lot of shit because the missus is super hot. Yeah, so to get a girl who is hot but also has an amazing personality is really difficult, right? So in my mindset, you've got to think about, who do I need to become to be able to attract both parts, yeah? Because you might be the guy who's super hot but have an absolute shit personality, not work on yourself, not have any emotional intelligence, not do any of that sort of stuff. And you'll attract them, but then that relationship will fall away very, very quickly. So if you want, let's go, the age-old 1 to 10 scale. If you want someone who's an 8 or a 9, then you pretty much got to be a 10. And I always think that it's going to sound so egotistical. You've got to be above what they are. Now, I'm not talking just looks. I'm talking about package-wise, And the reason why is that there's a theory out there, which I kind of believe, that women will find the best possible mate that they can find.
That's in every animal kingdom, right?
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you're letting your numbers drop, then that attraction is going to drop. So that's why, everything comes back to, as we were talking about today, everything is coming back to actually making yourself better. And, and you have good times, you have bad times. Everyone has different seasons. And, Anna is one of the biggest components of that too, because, I've just gone through a really tough season as well. But, yeah, you do need to actually go, who do I, if if this is what I want, what am I going to be prepared to invest into that? You know,
What does that say for all the guys out there that are batting above their average?
They're good at playing cricket.
Get your shit together and don't let your numbers drop. Now, no, but also that might just be on looks though, but that guy might actually fulfill her needs, you know, sexually, monetary, emotionally, you know, all in those areas. Because a lot of those areas, for a lot of girls, that's the part that's hard for them to find. You know, how many models do you know date ugly guys? But that's because there's other parts that are missing, you know? So,
which is funny because staying with attraction for a moment, isn't it funny? When we say attraction for us as men, the instant attraction is good looking. Now, I'm not saying women don't like good looking men because, you know, you hear quite often a woman will say, oh, he's good looking. But you will find women are attracted to the masculine traits way over the way the men looks. Whereas our first attraction seems to be the way they look, and then we try and hope they are a good person.
I mean, what's one of the first questions you get asked when you're dating? What do you do for work? Do you really care what they do for work, though?
Depends. Depends what they're wearing, I suppose.
No,
Well, let's be honest about it, guys.
like what I'd rather is
right.
how are you going to treat me?
Yeah. You're exactly right.
That's
and
what I'm worried
I think
about.
this goes back to the question that we're asking. When it comes down to if you are a single man looking for a potential partner, what is at the top of man you need to make yourself that's attractive to her? And because my 19-year-old son at the moment, he's been dating his girlfriend now for 2 years, and they're talking marriage. They're talking how this is going to play out, and you know, we're all for it because she's an amazing woman and he's a great kid. And just during the week, I was having this conversation with him about, do you realise the roles? Because we can guess the roles men take when we're young. We can guess them. Now, we can guess them quite well because we watch our dads do it, we watch other men do it. I get that. But let's all be honest. There's a hell of a lot that we've learnt as we've gotten older that you just have to go with it, right? So I'm having this conversation with him during the week and I'm going, mate, like, this is what you need to look at as a, you know, again, going back to the protector, the provider, the leader. Like, are you capable to protect this girl? Because it's one thing to be infatuated with this girl and love this girl and want to marry her, but are you able to at any point protect her? Do you think you're capable or are capable enough to be able to protect her? Not only that, be a provider. What's your long-term goal in getting yourself a career that goes right? If we decide to have kids, if we do this, because yes, I totally understand that society has changed in a way where we've empowered women to go out there and get jobs. I get it. Mortgages are through the roof. A lot of single income families now sadly have to rent. They can't afford homes. I get it. So you do see mums and dads working. We've talked about this before. But there are changes. And if changes did happen, predominantly it falls back to the man. So as a man, you're stepping into a long-term relationship. Do you think you're going to be able to be the provider? And I think a lot of guys don't think this when they're single. Provider, yeah, maybe. But I don't think they wrap all these things up and go, look past the infatuation, look past the you know, the honeymoon period. Because you do, when you're single and you're looking for that partner, yeah, you tell yourself, oh, you know, it's not always going to be roses, but to some degree you tell yourself in your head that you're always going to be smiling and laughing and marriage looks phenomenal, but there's arguments, it just genuinely happens. So I think as a man, or as a young man, I should say, or a single man, I think you do need to stop and go, right, am I capable enough to protect this woman if it comes down to it? Am I the type of guy that will step in to protect her if it comes down to it? What's my long-term goals looking like as a career, as a job? If it falls on me and it falls all on me, am I driven enough to make it work? Because when it's all said and done, predominantly it does fall onto the man. Like I said, I know society changes. I know that we got, you know, dual income. I get it, but predominantly it falls back to the man. So are you driven enough to go, if the wheels fall off, I'm that guy that can make it get done? I just don't know if young men, single men think that anymore or think it at all.
We are the backup, is what you're saying. So when times get tough, things get hard, I think every single one of us blokes sitting here today, and for all the listeners, it is ask Dad to do it. or go and ask Dad, hey, Dad, can you fix this? For me personally, it's a pride thing. I'll just fix that for the kid. You know what I mean? Whether it's like a $2 toy that you've just spent an hour fixing, but the kid loves it.
Well, I think we've also spoken about it, though, is that when times do get tough, you're the one who is the leader of the family, and you're going, it's going to be okay. We're going to work our way through this. But that is why you need mates, because you also need to go, mate, I'm a bit stressed about this. You
Yeah, how are we going to do it?
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you've got to have that person, you know, saying, buddy, I'm in this situation and it's pretty fucked. Like, this is, you know, what do you think we should do? But to your family, yeah, you're going to be the one who goes, we're going to get through this, you know, and step up and do that.
That's what I mean by we are the backup.
Yeah. And do you think, though, going back to that fairy tale stuff where, you know, as you said, there's going to be fights, there's going to be this and there's going to be that. Do you think there's so many single people out there because as soon as one thing goes wrong, they go, oh, no, this isn't the right person?
100%, mate.
You know?
Yeah.
And a lot of that will come from rejection as kids and the things that they've learnt. Past processes, well, one of my favourite words, boys, habitual processes that Denzel Washington and Gary Vee talk about.
Yes,
No, but seriously, all jokes aside, well, I know there's certain triggers that I have, and when I'll sit with it for a bit, if I can get a mental pattern interrupt and go, hang on a sec, don't fire up here, just sit with that emotion for a sec. What is that? I'm like, wow. I remember that from when I was 5 or 6 years old, and it was with my dad, and it was like, can pinpoint the hell out of it. So, yeah, absolutely, man. I think we do. So, absolutely, we do run from certain things. So if we're not aware of those triggers, absolutely.
What's the difference between a red flag and a deal breaker as a single man? Answer this 2 ways. Go back to when you were single. What was a red flag and a deal breaker for you? And how does a single man create his own, okay, I'm going to write down some red flags and write down deal breakers. How does this set it? So start with yourself.
Red flag is an alert. A deal breaker
what were
is
some?
it's
I'm
done.
asking you. What were some red flags?
Okay,
and
so
what
a
were deal
red
breakers?
flag may be a way someone has, like a way that the girl's acted. But yeah, that's not really cool. Or the way that they've spoken about something, and if a certain situation happened, I'd do blah blah blah, whatever. Okay, that's a bit of a red flag because I think it's a bit over the top. And the deal breaker would be the action. Okay, I'm out. See you later. Or it could be, a commitment. I'm committed to X, Y, Z. Okay, so this has happened now, and you didn't commit to it. That's a red flag for me because there's no integrity in that. Happens again, deal breaker.
Yeah, I think just genuinely not showing an interest in my life and the things that I love, and things that mean the most to me. I actually met a girl when I was single, and I actually quite liked her for a little while. And then, I'd just be having a chat to her about what work stuff and things that I was excited about and things that, I felt really good about at the time. And it's kind of like she was just like, oh yeah. Showed no interest. And to me, that's just like, here I am telling you something that I'm really passionate about and I feel really good about, and you're checked out. That's a red flag for me. Sorry.
Is that a red flag or a deal breaker?
It was a deal breaker.
Yeah.
Jamie, red flags versus deal breakers.
Well, I think what Miguel was saying is like so the red flag is the alerts to what your deal breakers are. And it is important. You've got to know what your deal breakers are. And this is probably why it's one of the benefits going into it on a second time, because you can learn about what it is. So I'm pretty similar to Chris, whereas if they don't care about you, if everything's about them, then that's a deal breaker. Because, it's got to be, I think it's got to be a team effort. Like you both got to be committed and putting towards a relationship and looking after each other's needs, So, and with things like that, so the red flags might be, they might not appreciate what they're doing. They might just be, they're always constantly asking for something or nagging or doing that sort of stuff. So these are red flags where everything is, that's showing you, this is a selfish person and they don't really care about you. So, and that is a deal breaker, and also, cheating, that's a deal breaker for me. You're like, you cheat, that's it. So,
Cheat as a single man or cheat in a relationship? I'm talking single man at the moment.
well, it depends if you become exclusive yet or not.
That's the
Yeah.
new
Because
word nowadays,
how
exclusive.
how can you cheat if you're a single man? You can't.
No, but okay, but you're dating this woman, you're considering to make this woman long term.
Depends what the agreement is, I suppose.
Yeah, but would cheating be a deal breaker?
Depends what the agreement is. Like, are you
Oh,
officially going
here's
out?
going back to the swinging again.
Are you? That's how I met your mum. Are you? Are you like officially going out and committed, or are you just seeing each other? Do you know what I mean?
All right, let's create a scenario. You've been dating for a year.
Okay.
You're
Oh,
about
totally
to
different
pop the
story.
question.
Yeah, this is a
you're
different
about
story,
to ask.
Well, you're not
Yeah.
single then, are you?
No, you're not
If
single.
Dating
That's
for a year, you're
No,
not
I'm
single.
I'm talking. Okay, yeah, true. You're right.
So I mean, like, if you go out, and I'm pretty sure, like, I'll put my hand up, no dramas at all. We'd go out on a Friday night, Saturday night, go out with the boys, have a drink. You're smiling, mate. So you know where this is going, brother. You've been there, so have you, Jamie. And you pick up a girl, man. Like, the girls out to have some fun too, right? Have a dance, have a drink, go home and have some great sex. Happy days. Yep. And then that's it, done, dusted. Or you might see them out the next weekend. You might become casual friends over it. It's a bit of exchange of energies and happy days. That's not a relationship. That's just you're going out and having a bit of fun as a young person, whatever.
I think there is. So when I was single, I was with one girl, and then I went on a date with another girl, and I found out that they were actually friends.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
I actually said to the other one, look, no, I've actually been with your friend, and yeah, so I'm not going to see you again. So, but that comes with, I guess, age and maturity, where you're like, well, I wouldn't want that happening to me.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't want for my chick that I'm a potential girl that I'm with to actually go sleep with one of my best friends as well too, and think it's okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
It's not painting a nice picture for what could be
Correct.
in the future, is it?
Yeah. So there is things like, I guess, when you are single, that you're like, if they did that to me, I wouldn't do that. So I think that would. So if it happened to me, that would be a deal breaker, 100%. So
So do you think? Let's call it a body count. Do you think a body count matters to a single person looking for somebody to settle down with? What if? Okay, I'll ask that question. Do you think a body count matters? Straight out, yes or no?
No.
A body count doesn't matter. Okay,
No.
what if it was 3,000?
Oh, hang on. Are you saying a body count?
Not just on
Not-
the
not
ball.
people
is
they've
that what you're
killed.
saying?
I've got
Not dead people, mate.
I know people that have married ex-sex workers. And I know that they get shit chucked at them regularly. So I think if you're, infatuated with a person or intimately in love with them, it doesn't matter about a body count. What I thought you were saying was, before you fall in love with someone or find your soulmate, do you personally have to have a body count before you get to that spot? And
No,
I was
I'm
saying
talking
no
about
to.
what's a deal breaker for your potential partner?
I mean, I don't think so. Like what's happened in their past has happened in their past. I wasn't my wife's first.
From the top.
I'm actually good mates with Christine's first love. Like earlier in the days, man, I was really jealous and really anti any of that shit. And you're with me now. Like, you don't talk to his family or whatever. Christine and my daughter, Christine and our daughter, this year went down and spent time with his mum. Like, and they've been really, really good mates. And Christine went through hell with a previous relationship, not with this dude, with another guy, attempted murder and blah blah blah. And old mate's mum helped her through that. So I think it's a healthy thing. Like, what's happened in the past has happened in the past, man. Like, what is it of any of our business, really? Are you going to judge her? How much can she judge you on?
I think body count. I think body count's important, especially from a guy's perspective, because it shows that maybe their morals or values isn't where you want them to be. Because it's so easy for girls to be able to pick up. Like, for a guy to have a high body count, it takes effort, and you know what I mean.
You need to look like Chris.
But so, is it a deal breaker? Potentially, but it's like it's concerning if they've got a high body count.
It would be concerning.
Yeah.
So concerning in what areas, right? So I get what you're saying, the morals and the standards. I look at that and I go, what is this young lady missing in her life? What's happened to her younger? And so in some instance, I want to pick her up as, my eldest now is 16. She's a female. And I want to hug that young lady like, dude, what's going on? Like, why are you treating yourself this way? So I'm anti that. I don't believe the body count and the past reflects who, their past doesn't determine their future, is what I'm trying to say. So why are you lacking that self-respect? What has occurred? I think there's a deeper story there. Rather than just writing a person off going, see you later, mate. Look at Oprah Winfrey, mate. Perfect example. Look how she was conceived. Do you know what I mean?
I don't even know that story.
What, was she at the town bike for a while or something, was she?
How was Oprah Winfrey conceived?
Like her mum and her dad met walking across a park one night. That was it. Never met each other before. Fell pregnant, done dusted.
I thought there was a much better story than that.
Crazy.
No, but I'm just saying, like, there's. I think people are quick to judge. Okay, cool. Yeah, that lady slept with 30 guys or 100 guys, whatever it was. So yeah, I disagree. I think it comes down to the woman's past. And when I say past, like from a young girl, like what's happened to her, why is she doing this to herself? She's missing love there somewhere. She's missing connection. So her self-esteem is low, and she's degrading herself by sleeping around because she can't fill a void.
But do you want to take that on, though, is the question. So as a single man...
Okay, that's a whole different story.
As a single man, like, you're also picking and choosing who you want to be with.
Yeah.
So if they are trying to fill something and you try to fill that void and you do everything you can, but they're not prepared to do the work or they haven't done the work yet, then that can be also soul destroying for
100%,
for the guy, and sometimes, and I do think that people get together sometimes where they haven't actually even learned how to be with themselves.
Yep.
So, and the issue is when you don't know how to be with yourself, then you're always going to be looking for more. So that's why I find it concerning is that, well, what's going to happen if that's how they've filled the void in the past and they get into a relationship and they think, they have that fairy tale that you're going to fix everything in their life and it's not as good as what they think they are, what you think it could be. Are they going to go now try and fill that void again?
Mm.
That's why I would see it as a concerning factor. Now, it doesn't mean that you give up on someone or you kick them to the curb or that sort of stuff. That's an individual choice for the guy on whether he's about to, take that risk or not and how much you care about them or not. But I think that, that is you also as a man have to understand that you're valuable enough to actually find someone that's going to treat you right, that's going to give you what you need as well, rather than just sort of taking what you can get. So,
discover multi-award-winning real estate with podcast sponsor One Life Property Group, based on the Sunshine Coast, Queensland, specialising in everything from high-end duplexes to multi-residential developments, ensuring the highest quality workmanship. Visit onelifepropertygroup.com.au today to achieve excellence in your next property development.
So to add to that, mate, what you're saying is, with the whole body count thing, are you as a man prepared to take on their past as well as their future? Yep.
I think one of the biggest things I would be asking if they had a big body count is where are they now and have they worked on those issues that made them actually go do that?
Yep.
Because people do, work on stuff and they move past stuff and they
Yep.
and they get better, There was a Zoe that was in here the other day. Every man on the Sunshine Coast is finding himself, But it is part of the process, isn't it? You have to find yourself. And I think I was definitely in that process where, left school, moved to a town and got with the first girl that was that smiled across the table, you know, and I didn't know who I was. So I knew I was good at football. I knew I was good at drinking. I knew I was good at making drinks, but I didn't actually know sort of who I was.
Or what you wanted.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
it's part of that journey, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
For me now, man, I know exactly what I need in a woman. It's security, loyalty, confident.
Would you know this as a single man, though?
You know, when I met
Did you learn this?
what I know now at my age and what I've been through, right? So life. But when I met Christine, I said to her, like, we'll probably, we're having just an absolute fat time. Every Friday afternoon, she'd finish work, we'd jump in a car, cruise off, we'd grab a couple of dogs, go pig hunt. It was the dogs, guns, fishing rods, swag, carton of beer, gone. See you later. And we'd hit the beach and then head north for about 100 k's, and we knew farmers all along the coast, so we could use the shearing sheds and fresh water and have a shower and whatever else. And probably about, like, we got into it pretty quick, pretty early, like very young in our relationship. I'd reckon 6 weeks in, I said to her, right, I can see this starting to form now. It's a bit more than just having fun and a few beers and a bit of sex. We're actually quite compatible and there's a lot of companionship and we really enjoy each other's times. We've got a lot in common. And then we just started putting in some ground rules as to what I thought a relationship was and what she thought a relationship was and kicked it off from there.
Learning about your capabilities, learning about your compatibilities, where do you draw the line as a single man? Actually, okay, a single man starting a date and considering if this is a long-term relationship, there's a term that gets thrown around a lot, which is try before you buy. When you're learning the compatibilities between you and your partner, what's the extent of try before you buy? Do you try everything before you lock it in?
Mate, I'd have to say yes, absolutely. Like, I mean, and like I know there's, you know, Christianity is not about that, blah, 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 but I'll talk to my own kids openly about this. Like, 100% be respectful. Don't do anything because you feel peer pressure because your friends are doing it. Have self-value, have self-worth. And if you're going to do something sexual, make sure it's commendable, I suppose. Like, make sure it's consensual and it's, you know, you're not under the influence of anything, like be that peer pressure or drugs or alcohol, whatever it may be. I don't think there's any point in going, the ride's been great, been with you for 6 months, let's get married and live together for the rest of our fucking lives. As far as I'm concerned, them days are gone. Like back in the mid-1900s, whatever, and you just got on with your lives. Slept in separate rooms, one person's upstairs, one person's downstairs, and there's no sex, there's no intimacy, there's no love. And we do that for 30 years because we've got to do it for the kids, because you're teaching the kids something that they don't want to be. You've got to be honest, you've got to be brutal, you've got to be raw. Like, no, this is not fucking working, we've got to address this. But what you're showing your kids is bullshit, really. You're not confronting the situation. So, yeah, man, have compatibility. Are you sexually compatible? Do you guys have a good sex life? Because that is arguably 50% of a healthy relationship. It is great intimacy, not just penetrative sex, like, you know, kissing, hugging, laying with each other, holding each other, being present in the moment. Compatibility with goals in life, compatibility with laughter, compatibility with adventure, so problem solving, all of it. I think, you know, like, okay, let's just say, you know, like maths, Married at First Sight. who goes down the road and goes, oh, hey, you look all right. Yeah, I think you do too. Let's get married. Done. Happily ever after. Bullshit. There has to be some form of attraction, whether it's sexual, physical, personality, moral compass, emotionally, mentally, whatever it is. And the only way you're going to do that is try before you buy. Like, you got to pressure test some of those things.
Don't you think that when it comes down to try before you buy, you're then making a decision on how you feel, not a decision on commitment?
Not a decision on what, sorry?
Commitment. So if you're getting the path of try before you buy,
yep,
and you go, everything about this feels great,
yep,
let's do it. Don't you think you're then making a decision on feelings compared to, I want to make a decision on my commitment and my decision, and I'm going to back it the whole way.
No, because you have to make a decision on the logic too. It's not just on emotions.
So then, does it need to come down to your compatibilities?
Well, yeah, because compatibilities make your logic. If you're not compatible in certain things, then you're going to fucking cross
All right.
lock horns every time. That's not logical to even try it.
So let's looking in finding somebody that's compatible with you. Are we talking someone is compatible when everything aligns between you two?
No.
Or compatible in a way of like a yin yang kind of thing, like
Yep.
where you're weak, she's strong, and where she's weak, you're strong. So it's the yin yang thing that makes somebody compatible.
100%.
So then does that then go back to what we were saying at the start? If you feel like you're missing something in yourself and you're trying to fill that void, are you then what happens if that changes down the track? What happens if that person changes down the track and then that becomes a void again in you?
Well, then you got to search within first before you can look external to fill it.
So that's what I'm saying.
There's
So
also a difference between a void and strength and weaknesses. So if they're strong in one area where you're weak, like for instance, so glad that Anna can spell because I'm a shit speller. So
Thank God for autocorrect.
I saw your notes before. I'm like, what the hell is this?
it's code.
It's
Code cracker.
it's hieroglyphics.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
So, but just as an example, like things like that. So where, communication is so important. So if you actually have someone who is a good communicator, and they're not a not so good communicator, well, then that's going to make that more likely, to work. Because if you have two people that are bad communicators, that's not going to work at all.
Okay, so then what if you do have two people that are great communicators? That becomes compatible?
It could be all the or it might be analysis paralysis, where it's like
That's what I'm trying to get to. If you're a single man out there and you're looking to find a lifelong partner, when you go down the path of looking for someone that's compatible to you, are you looking for somebody that is totally in alliance and agreement in everything about you, or are you looking for someone that has that misbalance because then you as a man feel like you're filling that void for them and they're filling the void for you? So what actually is it that makes someone or a couple compatible?
I think a line got. Oh, sorry, you go.
It's the way you make each other feel, right? It's a feeling that you're attracted to. Well, for me, it is. If that girl's making you feel good about yourself, and you want to, in return, do not good things for her, or reciprocate those feelings with her. I mean, that's the start. That's the start of it. You know what I mean? It's all about the feelings for me.
I think aligned values and goals but then the compatibility stuff is about feelings, So I think that's the important part, is that you're heading in the same direction. You both want the same sort of stuff, and you sort of believe in the same things. You have the same beliefs, but you do need that spark, and you do need that, to know each other's strengths and weaknesses and be able to work as a team to be able to get there. So
to answer your question, I think try before you buy is very important. Try before you buy on all the elements that have just been discussed here. For some cultures and some beliefs, obviously not the sexual stuff, but there's got to be compatibility, like the yin and the yang that you said, mate. Like there's got to be, for the yes, there's the no. For the no, there's yes. But that's what tries and tests a relationship, right?
So that's what I'm saying. So should you be looking for, like, what's that song years ago?
I'm falling.
No, not that. Definitely not that one. I don't even know what you're saying. Opposites attract. There's a saying, opposites attract. So when you're looking for compatibilities, that's what I'm saying. Does it come down to the opposites attract, or is it what aligns in you that is attractive, or attracts you both together?
Well, it depends on what it is. So let's say you're a really social person, like me and you, right? So we're outgoing, we like talking to people and all the rest of it. Anna is an introvert, and I think Lisa.
But so is Lisa, so is Christine.
Yeah. So, but we can get that from somewhere else. Yeah. But in affection, if you're not compatible, it's not going to work because you can't really go get that from someone else without permission, you know. But then is that also leading down the path where you're not going to be compatible in the future? So,
But yeah, and then together as a team, you do grow things, right?
yeah.
And you learn more about each other. You become more comfortable. You become aware that you've got a safe place. You can be vulnerable, so you do experience those things, and you grow on that for sure. But I think with the girls, they're happy. Like I know Lisa's happy, Christine's happy, Anna, like because they got us three clowns.
Anna's happy.
But
Thanks, mate.
do you know? But you know what I mean? Like, even when we've been out as a group, the meat festival that we went to, we're all young, and the girls all just like you guys were there. The girls mellowed out pretty well and just done their thing and happy days, you know. But I'd say your missus, she's more of an extrovert though, right?
Definitely, yeah.
And you're more of an introvert, dude. But it's the yin and the yang, you know.
Does that become a deal breaker then if you're a red flag at the start of a relationship? If you're stepping into a relationship and you go, wow, I'm so outgoing, I'm wanting to do this with so many people, but my missus is so laid back.
No.
Should that make him stop and go,
No, the red flag would be, are they going to try to control you?
Correct.
Because
So by saying you shouldn't be going out with your friends this week, you should be staying here with me, and why you're always out, and
correct.
I think if you've got a lady that's happy to stay at home, that's your rock right there. That's your foundation. But equally, you've got to respect that too. You can't just be taken off, get on the piss, yahooing with the boys when you've got a young family and things like that, which I was very guilty of in my younger years, 100%. I think if you're going to have a good, so the introvert extrovert, if you're going to have an agreement as that relationship grows, and your wife's going to stay at home and raise a family, be that support for you, and be the rock and hold that helm while you're out and about creating wealth for the family, not off on the piss, not off partying, not off making up bullshit excuses, but genuinely out there grinding, mate, it's a match made in heaven.
Yeah, because you've got to be happy, and there's something that was something that I struggled with like early in the relationship, and like I was a dick for like feeling that way, where Anna wanted to stay home and recharge, you know, but I made it about me, going, oh, why does she want to hang out with me, you know? So I think that you've got to grow sometimes and go. That's one of the keys to the relationship is letting that person get what they need. Because she lets me go out and, you know, hang out as much as I want, sort of thing. So the least controlling partner I've ever been with in my life. So, but also you've got to actually go, well, actually, I also need to make sure that she's getting what she needs.
Yeah.
So
That's so the early days with Chrisso and I, like the first 6 to 8 weeks in it, like, anyone can ask you this. I said to her, and this is from a previous relationship that I caused before Christine, put this girl up on a pedestal and whatever she wanted, she got. Mate, so did her mum and her dad and her brother and sister, and it was a f***ing nightmare. And I created it in my own house. Like, anyway, I said to Christine, look, straight down the line, you will never own me, and I'll never own you. That just means before I met you, you had a life, and before you met me, I had a life. And so I love hunting, I love fishing, and I love catching up with the boys. And I'm still going to do that. And you need to still go out on a Friday night or a Saturday night and play pool with your male friends from work, because that's what you do. And go and catch up with your girlfriends from work, or, you know, your friends from school. Christine grew up having more male friends than she ever did girlfriends. Like, and she said, preferred hanging out with the boys because they're not bitches. They're easy to deal with. So it's just understanding, I suppose. Yeah, before you come into a relationship, there's two separate lives. Like Chris nailed it earlier. There's two people coming together to form one. So you take into consideration of what their past were and get some what's the word I'm looking for? Getting some structure around that. Like, it should be quite healthy. If not next.
deal breaker?
Yeah.
So as a bloke out there that feels he's found the one, deciding that, you know, this is going through this checklist or things like this, what expectations shouldn't he have? and let that come from what expectations did you have that didn't play out? What would you tell a single man that's deciding, is this the one? I'm going to make the call. I'm going to make the decision. I'm going to ask her out. I'm going to ask her to marry me or whatever it is. But this single man that's now moving forward and making this a decision to go, right, this is the one. What expectations shouldn't he have moving forward?
Unquantified conversations. In every
What the
fucking
fuck does that
Unquantified
mean?
type.
in every
Oh, did you
aspect
say
of
the
it.
unquantified type? Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, so unquantified conversations. Now to elaborate,
Look, I think
If you-
that early in a relationship, I don't think there should be any real expectations. The expectation would be, hey, let's give this a go. Let's be kind to each other and work out who each other is and whether we're compatible for each other. There just shouldn't be any expectations. The expectation is, hey, we're going to have a crack at this, and that's the only expectation there.
Yeah. I agree. Like, it's the expectation is that you have a good time together.
Yeah, you
Like-
start putting expectations on that early in the piece. Like, for me, that's a red flag. Like, whoa, hang on. You
Yeah.
expect me to do this already, okay? Other than the fact that, you expect me to, take her somewhere or do something with her or something. Cool, I'll do that. But that's about as far as it goes until we're going to.
that's exactly what I mean by unquantified conversations. Like go out, have so exactly what you were saying. Go out, have fun, chill, relax, blah blah blah. But if you've got it in your head that this is your expectation on it, like it's an unquantified conversation that you haven't had with the person, it's going to go pear shape because it's in your head. It's not vocalized to them.
Yeah. And I think it's just one step at a time sort of thing, because eventually they're going to start falling for you and they're going to have that expectation to go, I don't want you to be with anyone else. And you'd be like, okay, let me think about that.
Shit's getting real.
What I mean, that's when you get that shit's getting real feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you might like it or you might not.
Yeah.
That's when you have a choice to either choose that person or not.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, they're the kind of expectations I'm talking about. Like, should you, let's just go back to when, so like I said, I've been married 25 years. Just go back to right at the start. We got married, we were super young, 20 years old. And I remember, I think it was the first weekend. So we'd not lived out of home. We literally got married, found a place to rent, and came back from our honeymoon and moved into it. So it was like, it seems so old school, old fashioned, but that's how we did it. Anyway, I remember the first weekend we went grocery shopping because we had this empty fridge that we now needed to fill. I went grocery shopping, and I'm walking through thinking like I had been brought up. She's walking through thinking hey, she's been brought up. We both come back to the trolley with a whole bunch of.
So you come back with just Haribo gummy bears.
I just come back with an armful of gummy bears. I'm
Yep.
like, hey, I've got breakfast, lunch, dinner sorted.
So hang on, just take it back a bit. So before you got married, you'd never lived together at all.
No,
Wow. So you just come back from your honeymoon and then bang, you're living together.
yeah, straight. I'm talking like full on. Why was that funny? Just had a bit of a chuckle, mate. Didn't you know that?
No.
See, he
Sure
doesn't
you
believe
knew
in try
that.
before you buy, bro. I'm with you though. I'm with you.
Oh, mate, yeah.
This is why I personally believe, and yes, it does come down to my faith belief, obviously, right? But I'm
Your faith in God or your faith in Lisa?
no faith in God.
Oh, bro, you should have said both. Oh my
Why?
God.
Why?
Of course you've got faith in Lisa. Anyway, keep
No,
going.
but I've. But if you want to go down the road of what facts and faith are,
No, we're not doing church tonight. Keep going.
no, but that's why the whole try before you buy in so many areas for me. This is why I don't believe marriages and relationships need to be. I love having like feelings. I love having feelings, right? Lisa still gives me feelings. I still see her and get that feeling. I get that. But this is why I believe as a young man stepping into to make the decision to go, this is the one for me, she's the one, I believe that's a decision that's made daily. Yes, it comes with feelings, but it's not reliant on feelings to me. It's a decision to make. So that's why I do believe that for us, for example, when I came back from that honeymoon, or even when we prepped it that way, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to get married, honeymoon there, we've got the rental law lined up, we take over this, boom, we came back and we moved now. Did it require faith in us moving forward as a couple? 100% it did. Did it require, putting the balls on the line and just having a crack? Yeah, it did. But all that came from a decision that this was going to be forever. That this is we're deciding to do this, and we'll get on this further on the next podcast when we talk about the married men, because that's a big thing for me on why. Because I know Jamie says this jokingly, but I know that there's also truth in it. Actually, I think there's more truth than it is joking.
Can I jump in here?
No, no, go for it.
Tell us about the shopping. What happened to shopping?
I was just about to say.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
you threw me. See, okay, what were we talking about? Expectations.
You came back with a whole heap of cupcakes.
I came back.
She came back with vegetables or something.
She came back with just all different stuff that her family had bought, and I came back with all the stuff that I'd bought. And we're like having this argument, and it literally, like, we'd been married not even a week. We'd come back from the honeymoon, and we were walking through the shops on our first day, so excited, so full of wow. We've both gone off different directions, come back with a trolley of like, why the hell are you buying that? And I'm like, why the hell are you buying that? And we're having this like argument in this aisle of like, what the hell are you thinking? And I remember it started this.
Who eats cornflakes? Nutrigrain's way better.
But then it rolled on until we got home. And we got home and like we're literally, it's the very first week. I think we got home on the Thursday, and this is the sad day. That rolled on to then kind of creating this bit of a separation. And then I'm lying in the lounge going, okay, well, it's sad day. Obviously I had no kids then, had no work, whatever it was. So I'm chilled out. I've thrown the TV on. And I can't remember what sparked even then, but it was a roll-on effect from that shopping day. And she'd asked me to do something. I can't remember what it was. I think it was clothes. Oh, can you pick up your clothes or something on whatever it was? Anyway, and I'm like, yeah, cool. Typical male response. Yeah, I'll get to it in a minute, because that's just how males think, right? But
Which could be tomorrow.
Which could be Thursday, the week after.
Yeah.
But she'd had this expectation that that's what I would, or every man would be like. And so I remember we having this, turning this into this argument.
So what you're saying is that
You should try before you buy.
her dad was well trained by her mum.
Yeah, exactly.
What I'm saying is that you step into, or there is a danger of stepping into a relationship with preconceived idea of what expectations are.
Yep.
Because it doesn't matter what you're expecting, chances are that's not going to be there. And one of the biggest things, without a doubt, is sex. A lot of men step into a marriage or long-term relationship thinking, oh, mate, sex is going to be on tap. That's not the case. But a lot of men expect it. And we've had this conversation. Is it healthy to expect that? I think it's healthy to expect a healthy sex life. And I think that comes down to a conversation that you have with your partner. But if you as a young man are going down this path and expecting, let's just say, the honeymoon period, if you're expecting the honeymoon period to last forever, it doesn't last forever. But there is that ideology that a lot of guys think, or even a lot of girls think too. But I think when you step in with expectations, you're creating for yourself a danger.
But I also think there is a problem there where people go, this is just the honeymoon period. Why can't it be good forever?
100%,
agree
man.
with you. I
Absolutely.
totally agree.
Like if you both still care about each other enough and you're both making the effort, then it can be like that.
Okay, that opens another
think it
question.
can.
I'll tell you why. Because we all responded exactly the same way just then, and we're all the males here. Because I've had that conversation with Lisa too. Like, why can't the honeymoon period last forever? Because in my head, and I remember having a chat with Mike, who's not here today, but he made this statement a while ago, and the more and more I think about it, the more and more I think it's true. It may sound bad. I don't mean it to sound bad, but this is just how it goes. Is that when a man and woman get married, the woman, I'm going to say it wrong, but you're going to get the gist of it. We think that everything's going to last the same as it is forever. Like we step into and we go, wow, this, lock her in because that's how it's going to be. Whereas a female's perspective is, great, once we get married, I'm going to mold him to what I believe him to be or should be. And so all of a sudden, the man has stepped into a relationship going, right, this honeymoon period has been so good, that's what I've got to look forward to. Whereas she feels like now she's locked him in. And I'm not saying this is against women by any means. So any women out there listening or whatever, that's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is it seems to be men are taken on as a project to women to shape and mold and to do whatever. Whereas men believe the honeymoon period does last forever. Because I've had this conversation with
Or
Lisa.
the honeymoon period is the bait that they've used until they got you hooked. And then
Locked in, rings on, boom, you're mine now, buddy.
But honeymoon, like, define the honeymoon period. Like, is it just getting regular sex, or is it, you know, having that affection and you know, the physical touch and all that stuff a lot, like, or is it just purely sex based?
I put on 7 kilos on my honeymoon. Because honeymoon was obviously not just the sex, but it was like
We should have been.
you
slimming down.
you weren't working out enough.
It's because
it just shows how much I was eating.
it's because you weren't monitored in the shopping aisle. We've been through this. You come out with a fucking shopping trolley full of it.
Let's just define what a honeymoon.
I think connection and admiration and talking positively to each other and forgiveness and
Yeah.
I think that's the honeymoon period.
I totally agree. I think things are
definitely.
overlooked and forgiven very, very fast in the honeymoon period.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't
I'm
even
sorry,
think
honey, don't worry
sex
about it.
comes into the honeymoon period. All the things that you just said for me, if that's still lasting over long periods of time, I think you're still in the honeymoon period. Whether you're having regular sex or not, it's a different story.
It's the butterflies, isn't it?
yeah.
But when you
Still having the feeling, still being excited about seeing your wife when she comes home. from work
absolutely,
every
man,
day.
100%.
That's so if you still feel that way 5-10 years later, then you're still in the honeymoon period.
Yeah.
And fucking good on you.
Absolutely.
But also, when it is like that, there is more sex.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
That's just
It's spontaneous.
Yeah.
byproduct of what's going on, the
Yeah.
connection and,
feel
and
good.
the feelings that are going on.
Yep.
So what about when? Okay, let's stay with honeymoon period for now. So let's just say the guy and the girl have moved in together, or whatever it is, and you're going to, because this happened to me. I was getting, when we first got married, I was getting lunch made for me every day that I was going to work. Now I hate packed lunches. Like I hate sandwiches. I hate just, give me a donut any day. No, I'm just saying, I'm not a fan of sandwiches, right? And it's been a bit of a joke amongst my family anyway. But Lisa started making me lunch when we first got married, and she was putting little notes in the sandwiches, and it was cute as. I'm like, oh, this is so sweet, and it died off pretty quickly, and that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying the idea
So she
that honeymoon.
hooked you. She got you.
No,
Yeah,
but
she's
this was
gonna
when we were
mould ya.
married. I was already hooked, mate. This is the thing. So, but the honeymoon period seems to, well, does it? It seems to die off. But why does it die off? But what I found interesting about how we all just responded just then was that we're all thinking that as men. Why does it have to die off?
I reckon one of the biggest things is they're friends.
Their circle of friends makes an
Yeah.
influence.
I disagree.
They say sometimes, like, that you can have, because they'll go, oh, things aren't the way they used to be. And their friends go, oh, that's natural. That's normal. And I'm like, it doesn't have to be like that. But I think when you're getting told something that and guys are the same too, when we get told something should be a certain way, and it's by, if you've got all single mates, really what they want you to do is go out and be single with the boys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every night.
So I think that is a contributing factor sometimes, where they listen to someone who's out of the honeymoon period and they're projecting onto them going, oh yeah, that's normal. That's just the way it is, type thing. So
I think coming out of the analogy of coming out of the honeymoon period is because we get stuck in this thing called life. Wake up, go to work, especially when kids come along. Wake up, deal with kids, go to work, come home, deal with kids, put them to bed, tired, go to sleep. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. Weekends come, kids sports, jobs around the house, clean the house, catch up on admin, rinse, repeat, go to sleep. Or rinse, repeat, go to sleep. If you don't actively schedule some time in there, that at this time, from like we're going out at midday to 2 p.m. or whatever it's going to be, and it's just going to be mum and dad, mate, the honeymoon stage will go pretty quick. If you don't set that time aside, like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Habitually.
No, Denzel. No, if you don't set that bonding time aside to just be in the moment with each other without being distracted by phone calls, friends, family, kids, or anything, then the flame does die, and it does just become habitual. Absolutely.
So do you think that's an expectation a man should have stepping into a marriage or shouldn't have?
to have that undivided attention with that girl? Absolutely.
He should be expecting that's what's going to happen. I'm going to get married to this woman, and we will have this locked in.
You know what I
Oh
think?
no,
it is?
sorry. What I'm thinking is he should, in his own sense, be able to put that forward to her. And so I think it's really imperative that we have this time together.
But I think that question of is she the one is part of that process. Where you're like, well, if she is the one, I want to recreate that again. I want to get that back. And if you're the one for them, they should want it back as well too. So, because I think there is a lot of guys out there, and I'm sure there's women on the other way, but this is, a podcast aimed at bettering men. There's a lot of guys out there that are doing a lot and trying to get it back, but it's just the other side's not coming back. And it does take two to tango. And sometimes there's only so much that a man can give for so long before he's the shell of the man that he used to be. So,
Agreed.
If definitely, if you are really each other's one, both of you should never want it to end.
Yep.
Because the feeling's too good.
Yep. And do you think sometimes though that not fear, but that period of time where do you think sometimes that's a wake up call that people need to go? If you don't actually, if something doesn't change, this is going to end. Like I think that
100%.
sometimes, if you're that unhappy for that long, I think sometimes that's on the cards where you're like, all right, I don't think it's a bad thing to say. I'm not going to live like this anymore.
I think that's really big of a bloke to do that because you're actually addressing it or ending something that's bad for both of you. Really simple.
Yeah. It doesn't mean that it has to end.
No,
it's
not at all.
I'm not going to live like this anymore.
So do you think that in itself is an expectation a man should have stepping into a relationship that, hey, I'm stepping into this marriage and this may not work?
No, because you're going in with a negative.
Okay, so
You're
then
looking,
so the
you're looking for
expectation
an
is
exit strategy.
Okay,
Well,
so
you're
then
going into the marriage. Expectation this has got to fucking work.
well, but then going back to what you were just saying though, if it's not working,
I think as a man, you got to go in and go, whatever happens, I'm going to be able to handle this. So, and I'm going to do the right thing.
so then would you call a separation or a divorce not handling it?
Well, I think that
It's got to be a two-way street. If
Correct.
only one person's fighting for it, then you're at a loss.
So then going back to what I was saying then, as a man stepping into a marriage, should he expect it to potentially not work? Or
No.
should he expect from his partner this is going to work regardless?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, because
You
that's
should
what
be
you're
going
committed
into
to.
a marriage expecting that it's going to work.
Okay, so with 1 in 2 marriages failing, should that expectation change? It's actually more than that, actually. It's now 54% of marriages fail.
but if you look at the stats, how many of those marriages are women walking away from the marriage?
I think you have to.
I think it's
like,
about 70% off the top of my head.
Statistics are great, right? But I think you've got to look at it as an individual case. Like, so from the get-go, did any of those people try before they bought? Like with emotions, goals in life, ambitions, blah, 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 blah. Or was it just felt like, all our friends are getting married, let's just get married. Like, was it, what was the, what was the scenario around the people getting married to start with, I suppose? What were the circumstances? Did they have a one-night stand and fall pregnant? And then, okay, we have to make this work. But they were completely incompatible from the get-go. They fell pregnant because they were both drunk. Like, there's so many...
Yeah.
There's so many situations
This
around
goes...
it.
This is a rabbit hole we can go down. This is why... This ties into why I am a believer on not trying before you buy. I'm a believer in you hold that off because that would never be the case. That circumstance would never exist.
Okay, as in the one-night stand?
Yeah.
Right, okay, I get that. So you're talking about from a sexual perspective. When I say try before you buy, I'm talking about it holistically. You've got to make sure you're compatible with the girl. The girl's got to make sure she's compatible with the guy. Like, you've got to have
but a one-night
common
stand is not
interests.
holistically. A one-night stand is a one-night stand. It's not, hey, let's sit down and be holistic together.
I think it's people getting together before they know who they are and they're not prepared to change for each other. I think that we don't actually, you don't talk about values or the things that you want in your life, sort of thing. And I think that fairy tale stuffs it up, where people think that they have to be perfect. So I think that there's not enough forgiveness and there's not enough flexibility. I think people just give up on each other too easy, and people or blame, deny, justify. It's your fault. You're not doing this. You're not doing this. You're not doing
No accountability.
that. No accountability, rather than actually going, okay, so how can we together make this work? Actually, that's a really good point with the John Gottman, that those people I was talking about in relationships and whatnot. People who fight are like throwing a ball into him. You know when you got the big brother and you throw the ball, they throw the ball at you, so you can't catch it, or as hard as you can to try to make you drop it, sort of thing. No. Oh, you always got it.
No, I don't know what the game you're talking about. I've never seen this.
Like, let's say if you got a tennis ball or you're throwing a football, right, and you're passing it to each other so hard, like you try to pass it through them so they can't catch it, sort of thing.
Yeah, gotcha.
That's what fighting couples are doing. Yeah. Yet what it should be is where both people are actually holding the ball and moving towards the try line. You know, that's what good. How do we get to here together? Not this is my part and you take this and let's. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So I think there's not enough of that understanding.
Wayno, coming back to what you said, what was the percentage of marriage breakups now? 54%.
Yeah, fail. Yep.
That is insane. So on that note, I'd love to know, with this, whoever created those statistics, what were the precursors for them to fail? Like, so how did they make? Was it a one night stand? Had they been friends for 2 years? Was it an arranged marriage? Do you know what I mean? Because
well, actually, arranged marriages have a less divorce rate than
massive less, like huge.
Because it's cultural. And it's expected, and it's been done for thousands of years or whatever.
That was actually leading into my next question, which, funnily enough, is that so you guys know Imran, who runs our Pakistan Average Joe's meetup over in Pakistan. He's been married now, I think, for about 10 or maybe 12 years, and I've known him since he was single. And I remember him coming to me saying, "Hey, my parents have found me a wife." And I had the question of like, your parents, well, your parents have found you off, because culturally here that doesn't happen. Culturally there it does. And so it made me think of that whole thing going, wow, I've never, this is firsthand for me now, hearing this, because I know somebody literally going through it. Your parents have found you a wife. Wow, what does this look like? You know, and do I agree? Do I disagree? Leads me to this next question, right? As a single man looking to go, is this the one? How much outside input should a man listen to?
I think it's relevant that the person takes advice from somebody worthy of giving advice, not his wingman that's, bettered 200 freaking women. I don't think that's relevant at all, because he's not speaking from a place of genuineness and from a place of love.
Well, what if a man's parents stepped in and said, "Hey, I've been watching the relationship with you and so I need to have the hard talk with you. I don't think it's going to work."
Again, it depends on what that person's parents are like. Like, does his mum and dad always fight? Are they always there for each other? Are they role models of what a relationship should look like? I think if it's yes to all of that, and to some degree, if it's no to some of that, then yeah, their input or their opinions may be valid, but ultimately, it's not your mum or dad that's going to keep you happy for the rest of your life. It could be this person though. So I think you've got to. 90% of it's got to come from you. What makes you happy?
I wonder if it's the parents actually saying, maybe it's good because the parents aren't actually saying, "I don't think it's going to work." Maybe the parents are holding their son or daughter accountable, going, "I think you need to do more because
to make it work.
Your wife is unhappy."
Yeah,
and potentially it might be happening on the other side where they're going, "I think you need to do more to make your husband happy." So. And I think it does come down to the people that you listen to. Like, you guys all have like happy marriages. So I'm going to take your advice over my single mates, because I'm going to go, this is something that I want, I aspire to, that's important to me. So, we've had some chats where I'm like, wow, this is really hurting me. And you gave me some really good, solid advice where, mates that I had on the Gold Coast would have been like, don't worry about it, mate. That's shit. Go for it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So never liked her anyway, So,
They're the ones you don't want to hear.
yeah. So, but there is points in that time where with everyone where those doubts come in, and that's where it is important who you listen to, and that's why it is important to go, is she the one? And then if it's a yes, you go, cool, let's work at this, So, but yeah, I think sometimes people actually don't ask themselves that question early enough. They have the what ifs in their minds for too long, rather than just going, do I want to be with this person? And if the answer is yes, how can I make it work then? And then that's where it comes into, you're doing what it takes to make it work, and if it's not reciprocated, well then you can't help that. So
yeah, like going back into what I said before about two lives coming together and the importance of being around your your partner's family or their friend groups and stuff like that. I think it's super important that they speak to their friends and the people that they hold dearest to themselves and seek validation to make sure that how they feel about the relationship and where they think it might lead. I think it's super important. Most girls have got a handful of really close friends that they share their whole lives with, and if you're not going to get along with that group of people, the relationship's doomed.
Absolutely. Well, fellas, I think we wrap it up there. That's really, really good. All the single men out there hopefully got a lot out of it, and can take away for all the mistakes that you guys have made.
Made a few. I'll tell you what, I didn't make a mistake when I met my new wife, so
You have done well, mate.
done all right.
You have done well. Well, gentlemen,
Did you
thanks for
say
joining.
Did you say steak?
No, mistake. Well, look, gentlemen, thanks for joining us here at the Men's Collective podcast. We are the Average Joes. Get along to your AJ's meetup this week. Thanks for being here, fellas. Thanks for joining me once again.
Thanks for having us, Wayne. Boys, have a great weekend.
Boys.
Excellent.
Thank you.
See you, boys.